I don't really feel like there is one way to build better habits. There are many ways, and my job is to lay all the tools out on the table and say, here's a full toolkit, and then you can decide, do I use the screwdriver, or do I use the wrench, or do I use the hammer? Like, what's best for this situation? I think one interesting thing you can do, walk into most of the spaces where you spend your time each day, your office, your living room, your kitchen, and look around and ask yourself, what behaviors are obvious here? What behaviors are easy here? What is this space designed to encourage? And you'll often find that it's encouraging the thing that maybe you don't want to do, or it's at least not encouraging the good habit that you say is a priority. And so there are all sorts of steps you can take. If you want to make it easier to go for a run, set your running shoes and your running clothes out the night before. I have a couple readers who actually sleep in their running clothes and then just get up, put their shoes on, and get out the door, right? They're trying to make it as obvious and as frictionless as possible. If you want to eat the good food or the healthy food, place the nuts on the counter rather than the chips or something like that, right? It's just like, what is the obvious thing that's present? I had one guy who, he would go to his music lesson and practice with guitar with his instructor each week. And then he would get a bunch of homework to do, these chords and scales and things to practice. And then he would come home and put his guitar in the guitar case and stick it in the closet. And then he'd go back to, practice the next week, and they'd be like, you aren't doing any of this. And so he bought a little stand and put it on the guitar on the stand in the middle of the living room. Now he passes it 30 times a day, and so he's much more likely to pick it up and play it for 5 minutes. And so there's just like this gradual progression of how can you make the things in your life that you want more of more obvious to you. And that is just one of many ways to make starting easy. From a real high level, there are kind of 4 things that you want to do if you want to get a habit to stick. So I call it the 4 laws of behavior change, but you want to make your habit obvious. So this is about making it visual or easy to see, easy to notice. It doesn't have to be vision, but that's often the sensory perception that you use the most. Make it obvious. The second is to make it attractive. So the more fun or attractive or appealing a habit is, the more likely you are to perform it. The third thing is you want to make it easy. So the easier, more convenient, frictionless. This can be about scaling your habits down and simplifying, reducing the number of steps. And then the fourth thing is you want to make it satisfying. The more satisfying or enjoyable a habit is, the more you have this feeling of pleasure, reward, or positive emotion associated with it, the more you're going to want to repeat it in the future. So those are the 4 steps. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, make it satisfying.